Section 12.2, this is on polar coordinates. And when you talk polar coordinates, they're not x and y, they are r and theta. R is the radius and theta is the angle. So a polar graph really kind of looks like a dartboard. It has rings going around it. Make sure those are nice pretty rings. Pretend they're pretty rings. And so when you start to graph these, if you are doing, let's just say we're doing a pi over 4 angle, and let's make the radius 2, just to give you a rough idea what's going on here, then I would go pi over 4, which puts me on this angle right here, 45 degrees, and count out 2 rings, and that dot represents 2 to the pi over 4. So let's do example 1. Now example, as I'm doing these and I write on top of it, it's going to get jumbled up. So I'm going to do them all on different graphs to try to keep it cleaned up. So they want us, point Q, 1 comma 5 pi over 4. And I'm not going to draw all the rings on it. I know it has a radius of 1, so I have my polar graph. I need to find out where pi over 4 is, or 5 pi over 4 is. 5 pi over 4 would be here, because 4 pi over 4 is halfway around. 5 pi over 4 would take me to there. And then I need to count out 1 ring, so I'm going to mark this dot and call this a radius of 1. So that's point Q. When I'm graphing point R, they want us to graph negative 1, 7 pi over 4. Now, they're interesting when they start putting negatives in here. Locating 7 pi over 4, you roll all the way around to here, because as we go, this is pi over 2, and then pi, and then 3 pi over 2. So this is 7 pi over 4. But because it says a ring of negative 1, you go backwards. The dotted line is going through the pole, and you count out 1 ring that way. So you drew in your line for 7 pi over 4, but then you had to go in the opposite direction because the ring said negative 1. When we graph S, they want us to graph 2 comma negative 3 pi over 2. Now, when you graph a negative angle, you have to go clockwise, so you're going to head this way, and 3 pi over 2 is going to be right here, and it's going to have a radius of 2. So the whole length of it is 2. Now, let's make up one that has negatives in both places. I'll call it point T. And let's graph negative 3, negative pi over 2. So that means go clockwise pi over 2, which puts you here, but then go through the pole and go the other direction and count out a length of 3. So that's where that dot's going to be. So you don't necessarily have to draw the rings around it. It makes it nicer, and you can find polar graph paper online if you so choose to use polar graph paper, but you should be able to graph without it. Now, when you go to the next pen cast for 12.2, it says that it's examples 2 and 3. However, it's got example 1 in it as well. Just skip through the first part of it, because the first time I did this pen cast is when I discovered when I write on top of it, and you'll see when you look at the next pen cast, they're all jumbled up and you can't tell one from the other. So I redid this part so that you could tell. And that's the end of example 1.